Welcome to Recommended Weekly, where each week, believe it or not, I'll be recommending you 15 songs and artists from all things indie and alternative. Now, these songs have been curated using two specific requirements. They either have less than 1 million streams, or I feel they deserve more recognition. Each weekly episode, I'll feature new artists and songs to help you grow and expand your music library, and all the songs will be added week by week into a Spotify playlist, which you can find a link to in the description below. And with that out of the way, let's get into the first recommendation. First up, we have a song called Pick Up by A Car That Swims. This is a project by American artist Chris Mayer, and it was released in 2020 as part of the EP Victory Lap. This EP is full of so many great tracks, but I thought I'd pick out Pick Up. It's hard to say. I thought I'd pick out Pick Up as it was the first song that I actually heard from A Car That Swims. It's currently sitting at around 500,000 streams on Spotify. Yeah, it has a popularity rating of 32, which, in case you don't know, Spotify uses a popularity index. Pretty much indicates how popular that song is in context of the artist and the genre, and currently it sits at 32, which I think is quite low for a song like this. I think it should be a lot more popular than it is. A very slow, melancholic song. Now, Car That Swims described their music as, you know, hints of the Beatles, MGMT, Tame Impala, Beach Boys, all these kind of artists. You'd hear hints of their music in his own music. He describes it as simple, sparse music that is quite synth heavy and usually features a lot of echo and reverb. But yeah, I definitely recommend checking out A Car That Swims and especially Pick Up. Okay, next up we have a band from Bristol called Adult Leisure. Now, seeing Adult Leisure's rise over the last year or so has been really impressive because they actually didn't release a single until 2022. Fast forward a year and they have a handful of singles out plus an EP, and they actually released a new song not too long ago called Bad Idea, which is another really great song. They're a fantastic live band, but the song I wanted to focus on is Control. It's a really fantastic song. It is their most popular song, but it is such a fantastic live song as well. I had the pleasure actually of seeing them live in London earlier on in the year, and I did pick up a little bit of merch from them. And yeah, they're a great bunch of lads. Got to talk to them after as well. A really great band that seem to really be coming on the come up, really. They've released quite a few singles, as I mentioned, over the last year or so, and they have just sold out their biggest show yet. So yeah, definitely a band to keep an eye on. But this song Control is a bit of a throwback actually to, you know, I'd say like mid-2000s indie music. And this song Control is kind of akin to, you know, kind of mid-2000s indie music, as a bit of a throwback feel to it. It's currently sitting at around 15,000 streams on Spotify, but it's definitely one that you should check out and add to your playlist. Next up is a band that I'm sure you've heard of. It is the Blossoms from Stockport. Now, the Blossoms have been one of the biggest sort of indie bands to come out over the last sort of 10 years or so. Their debut project, the self-titled project, came out all the way back in 2015. And the song I'm focusing on today is the very last song on that project called Deep Grass. I can't really work out why this song hasn't got more streams, you know, compared to a lot of other songs on the album. Because, you know, the first song, Charlemagne, has nearly 100 million streams now, which is absolutely brilliant. But Deep Grass, all the way down at the bottom, only has 2 million streams, which in, you know, context to the rest of Blossom's music, that is an incredibly low stream count for what I think is their best song. It kind of has a special place for me as well. It's like mine and my best mate's kind of our song. And I actually bumped into Tom, the lead singer from the Blossoms, New Year's Eve. Didn't get a chance to really talk to him because we kind of passed by and we didn't realize it was him until he walked past, but I literally wanted to like go up to him and say, by the way, you don't realize how much this song means to me and my mates. And I was with my mates at the time as well, and we was just going to say, look, I know that it's not, you know, a big song, you never play it live, you don't hear about it, you don't really see it anywhere, but yeah, for me it's like one of the most important songs to me. But I think overall it's their best song, and I think it's their most beautiful song as well. As I mentioned, it's currently sitting at 2.6 million streams, so if you're a fan of the Blossoms, you may have missed this one, so it's probably worth going back, checking it out, see if you like it. Next up, we have a proper indie rock tune, and this one is called Kid by Lostboy. Now, Lostboy are a indie rock band from Sheffield, comprising of loads of friends from school. Now, these boys have got a ton of great songs. They've not actually released an album yet. It's been about 4 years since they started making music and releasing music. No album yet, but there's tons of EPs and singles already on their Spotify page. And yeah, I've listened to pretty much all of them. They're all absolutely fantastic, but I decided to choose Kid. It's one of the first songs I found from Lostboy, and I honestly think it's one of their best tunes. It's a proper old school sort of indie rock tune, and it is currently their second most popular song on the platform with around 250,000 streams. But yeah, definitely another great one to check out. Next up, we have arguably the biggest band featured in this episode. I'm sure it's a band that everybody's heard of, and it is Beach House. Now, Beach House are probably one of the biggest bands to come out of the sort of early 2010s alternative indie scene. You know, the duo have some massive songs like Space Song, and also albums like Teen Dream. And they're best known for their sort of synthy sound, and Victoria, the lead singer, her haunting voice as well. And the song I wanted to feature in this episode is called Girl of the Year, which came out as part of the album 7 in 2018. It's the penultimate song on that album, which featured some massive songs for the duo. such as Lemon Glow. But Girl of the Year is one of my favourite songs from Beach House. It's currently sitting at over 6 million plays, so it's still quite a lot, but in context of Beach House, you know, considering that Space Song has nearly 900 million plays at this point, I think that Girl of the Year deserves some more recognition. And it's one of those songs that utilizes the idea of tunings. So, for example, the guitar is tuned a whole step down, which gives it this really deep sound with this ethereal guitar tone on top of it that carries throughout. And the tone and the melodies throughout this song are absolutely beautiful. It's one of my favorite songs from them. So yeah, I'm sure you've heard of Beach House, you know of their music, but yeah, Girl of the Year might be a song to check out if you haven't already. Okay, moving on to the next song, we have an American singer-songwriter called Max Clark, also known as Cutworms. Admittedly, I don't know too much about Cutworms, but I really do want to listen to the self-titled album that came out this year. And the song that I'm focusing on today is a song from that album, which is called Ballad of the Texas King. Cutworms has been making music since all the way back in 2017, and it's the second album they released. And yeah, the song Ballad of the Texas King is an absolutely beautiful song. The highlight for me is the chorus. I think it's absolutely beautiful. The melody is unreal and it's so addictive and very, very catchy as well. The song is currently the most popular on the album, sitting at around 500,000 streams, but it currently has a popularity index of 17, which I think is very interesting because you know, Cutworms have a lot of songs that have millions of streams, and I thought this one is kind of on level with some of his other work. So yeah, definitely a song to check out, especially if you like more sort of country-infused indie music. Next up, we have a band from Vancouver called Meltt, who have just released their second album called Eternal Embers. I haven't listened to the album yet, but I will be doing a reaction to it on this channel. But Soak Your Head is a song, you know, which I discovered earlier in the year, and it is probably one of my favorite songs I have discovered this year. The band described their music as rock, alternative, and psychedelic, allowing them all to coexist in an airtight instrumental. And I think Soak Your Head is a perfect example of that, so definitely go check it out. The band are definitely on the rise. They've got some massive songs on Spotify as well with millions of streams. But yeah, Soak Your Head is currently sitting at 280,000 streams, and I definitely think it deserves to be heard more. So yeah, definitely check this one out. Next up is another one of my favorite bands I discovered this year, and it's called Night Moves, and more specifically their song Recollections. Now, Night Moves was founded by 3 friends who actually met in high school, and yeah, their goal was to kind of mix indie pop music with Nashville twang, and that definitely comes through on songs like Recollections. It's such a throwback song. It still goes into that indie alternative sort of feel, but it does definitely feel like a 70s or 80s song, something that you would kind of hear in something like Stranger Things. And honestly, when I say that I discovered this song and I had it on repeat for days and days, I'm not exaggerating. It was one of those songs, you know, when you discover a song and you play the life out of it and you don't get sick of it at all. Recollections is that one for me. It still hits the same way it did when I first heard it, so I definitely recommend checking it out. Now, Night Moves actually have some massive songs like Colored Emotions and Carl Sagan, but the song Recollections was released as part of the 2019 album called Can You Really Fire Me, and it's currently sitting on around 500,000 streams with a popularity rating of 29. So yeah, it's not one of the more popular songs, but definitely one that I think you should check out, especially if you're a big fan of kind of bending older music with new music. Okay, now one thing you might notice on these weekly episodes is how much I talk about the emergence of Australian indie alternative music that's happened over the last 10 or so years. It kind of started with the psychedelic rock side with Tame Impala, and then bands like Pond, and then groups like DMAs, The Grogans, Ocean Alley kind of brought this more indie poppy rock feel to it, and that's led to so many great bands emerging from Australia. And one of my favorite bands that I've discovered over the last year or so is Rum Jungle, and more specifically their song Everything Is Easy. It's currently their second most popular song with 2.5 million views, and it was released last year as a single. And since then, they've released a handful of singles and an EP, but they haven't actually released an album since 2018. So I'll imagine that we're going to see a new album from Rum Jungle either this year or next. Rum Jungle described their music as a hammock swinging between 2 trees overlooking the ocean. And yeah, their music is kind of similar to the band Sticky Fingers, where it kind of incorporates a lot of reggae style music as well, but definitely still fits in that sort of indie pop rock genre. And they've already toured with bands like Lime Cordial and British India, and they are actually currently on a tour of Australia, so hopefully they'll come over to Europe soon because they have so many good songs, wide range of music in those songs as well, so their discography is very vast. And as I mentioned, I think we should be seeing an album from them over the next year or so, but definitely check out Everything Is Easy, one of my favorite songs from Rum Jungle. Okay, next up we have an artist from Canada called Floor Cry with the song I'll Be Around. Now, Floor Cry mostly releases her music on SoundCloud, but does put music on Spotify as well. currently only has one album on Spotify plus a bunch of singles, and coincidentally she is also the love of my life. Her music is mostly synth pop, but it bends into the sort of indie alternative genre, and I think the song I'll Be Around is the perfect example of that. I'll Be Around was released in 2018 and does have over 4 million plays, which does make it one of her most popular songs on Spotify, but still definitely one to check out. Next up is a band called Slug with the song Radio. Now it's quite hard to find some information about this band, but it looks like they're from Manchester in the UK, and despite the fact they haven't actually released an album yet, at least on Spotify they haven't, they're actually really popular in terms of their streams. Radio is the most popular song from the band with over 7 million plays. It was released as a single in 2020, and I think it's a great example of some of the better indie music that has come out over the last 5 years or so. They're currently doing a tour of the UK, and they'll be in London on November the 30th, so I'll definitely go and check them out. But in the meantime, check out Slug, check out their massive discography, but yeah, definitely take a look at Radio. Next up is a band that I absolutely love, but annoyingly they've only released 2 songs, so I'm hoping to hear more from them soon, but they haven't released any music in quite a long time, so I'm not sure if the project's done or anything like that. But the band is called Pashy, and it's an LA-based band comprised of 3 best friends, Jason, Emma, and Jono. And the song I'm focusing on today is a song called From Here, which came out back in 2021. It's an absolutely beautiful song. It's so addictive. The chorus and the melody is just unbelievable. They've also got another song as well, which is called The Coast, and I presume it's Emma's vocals of the 3. I think it's Emma's vocals, and she's got an absolutely beautiful voice as well. So I'm really hoping that we see more from this band, because right now the song From Here sits at 40,000 streams, and I really think it deserves a lot more sort of recognition. So yeah, a song that I'm constantly listening to, and it's one of those songs that I'll listen to and just always go back to. It'll just come into my mind at random parts of the day because it's such an addictive melody and it's so nice to listen to. It definitely suits the more sort of chill side of the indie alternative scene. Yeah, I'd definitely recommend checking out From Here. Also check out the other song, The Coast, but that one may feature in a future episode, so keep your eye out for that. Now we're coming into the final 2 songs, and the penultimate song on this episode is from Emily Hamilton, aka San May. San May is an Australian singer-songwriter who's been pretty quiet throughout the whole of 2023, to be honest. She's not released anything since 2022, but the song I'm focusing on today is her 2017 single, which is called Until You Feel Good. This was only the 3rd song she released on Spotify, and honestly, it's one of my favorites from her. She's got a few other songs as well, but Until You Feel Good is a song that I always come back to. It's a proper indie pop rock tune, and again, another example of the emergence of this fantastic talent coming from Australia. Some great guitar work in the song as well, and her voice is unbelievable. So yeah, definitely check out Until You Feel Good. And that brings us on to the final song of the episode, and another massive band who have just released a new album as well, which you can check out the reaction to on my channel, and that is Nothing But Thieves with their song Tempt You. I'll try and keep this one quite short because I could probably talk about Nothing But Thieves all day, because I do believe, and I'll probably make a separate video just talking about this, but I do believe that Nothing But Thieves are probably the best British rock band that has come out over the last 10 or so years. They've constantly been releasing unbelievable songs, and it's not just the rock music they make a wide range of music, to the point where if you go and see them live, they're probably one of the best live bands you can see. The lead singer Connor has one of the best voices I've ever heard in not just alternative indie rock music, but full stop. The range he's got is unbelievable, the notes he can hit is crazy, and you watch him live and it's just absolutely unbelievable, because you know, hitting those notes on a record is one thing, but doing it live and seeing it live, it's unbelievable. And Nothing But Thieves have been putting music out for about a decade now, and this song Tempt You actually features as the 12th song on their debut album, the self-titled album. And I think it's just a case of the song was overshadowed by so many other good songs, because it's not like their sort of slower ones get less recognition, because you have songs like Graveyard Whistling, which are massively popular, as well as others like Lover Please Stay, which both feature on the same album. I think it's just a case of there were so many good songs on this album that it just didn't get the recognition it deserved. You know, it has over 7 million plays, so it's not like a hidden gem or anything like that, but I think in the context of Nothing But Thieves and, you know, the numbers they're getting now from their streams, especially the sort of newer music they're releasing, I think, yeah, 7 million is criminal, especially for this song, because it's absolutely beautiful. And it's another example of how good Nothing But Thieves are at making not just the rocky side of things, but the complete other side of the spectrum, just having this wide range of music that covers pretty much every emotion. You know, I don't think there's many bands out there that kind of do it the way Nothing But Thieves do it, and it's one of those rare occasions where you could, you know, show Nothing But Thieves to people who like any kind of genre, and they'll find a song in their discography that they like. That's how good I think Nothing But Thieves are. I still think they're a bit underappreciated as a whole. I don't think they're really mainstream as of yet, but as I said at the start of the video, I think they are the best British rock band in the country at the moment. I think they have been for quite a while. Again, I might make a separate video on that, discussing that, but definitely check out Tempt You. And if you haven't checked out, you know, their earlier stuff, maybe you've just heard of them from Dead Club City or Moral Panic, even their early EP and singles like Last Order and Emergency, which again might feature in a later episode. Definitely check those out as well. But yeah, long story short, nothing but Thieves are good. Okay, that is a wrap for the first episode of Weekly Recommended. As I mentioned, this will be a weekly series, so please feel free to subscribe if you enjoyed the video so you don't miss any future episodes. You can find all the songs mentioned in this episode in the description below. I'll share a link to my Spotify playlist, and I also encourage you to leave any comments on any songs that you would recommend and any songs that you would like to feature in future episodes. So yeah, I want to say a big thank you for watching. Leave a like if you enjoyed, and I hope you have a nice day.